Your best case management investment is this one at $35 a month. It has a sales pipeline, which is like Salesforce for lawyers, but it isn't yet approved as a trust accounting vendor by the Law Society. Compare that to this one, which is great at trust accounting and generating reports compliant with Law Society standards. Then lastly, your most expensive option is $145 a month, but it has all the features and is pretty popular. So we're going to review a case management system today. Now, before I get into the specifics, the best way to think about case management systems, in my opinion, is a way to organize what belongs to what. And not that you don't already know how to what a case management system is, but just because every case management system out there does so many things, it organizes so many different categories of information. I like to remind myself that what they do is show what belongs to what. So for example, an invoice will belong to a client, or a task will belong to a client, or a task will belong to a matter, but then a matter can also belong to a client. So here's a better example. I've clicked on matter on the side, and it shows us a visual representation that is colored really nicely, just an overview of what belongs to that matter. Okay, this is my favorite part of the software. So they call it their opportunity pipeline. What they mean by a pipeline is just having different phases that you move a client through. So this one I would actually rename to lead, and I would put someone in there so you create a new opportunity as soon as someone calls you or emails you interested in your services. And then next one would be when you have a consultation with them and you establish that you do have the expertise to take on their case, you can move them there. Next one would be, I would rename this to retainer, sent. So as soon as you've sent them a retainer, then I would move them there. Negotiation, I think it depends which area you practice in. Because some practice areas you won't do a lot of, like your clients won't negotiate with you, so you might want to remove that phase. And then the next one is closed. So when they've actually signed their retainer agreement, returned it, and they've deposited their funds into trust, then you'd move them there, and now they would actually be a matter. So as I said before, you can add a lead before they've signed any retainer agreement, and then once they've signed a retainer and they become official client, you can convert that lead to a matter in the system without retyping anything. So it's sort of like Clio Grow or Clio Manage if you were using the Clio case management system, which is another company for those who don't know. But with Clio Manage or Clio Grow, you'd have to pay extra for it, whereas with Matters Cloud, it comes with it. Now, it's probably the case as a solo lawyer, you're thinking, okay, this doesn't apply to me because I don't have hundreds of cases that I need to analyze. Like I talk to everyone myself. But actually, honestly, what I would do as a solo lawyer is I would just have 3 phases to keep it simple. But I would say you definitely want to know how many people your paralegal is talking to on the phone, which would be everyone they talk to is a lead. So you want to know how many of those are converting, because you should probably listen to what they're saying on the phone. And then also, if you're working by yourself, this actually might be an especially good idea because you want to know how much of your time you're wasting talking to all your leads that call you. Because it's fair enough, you want to talk to some of them, but if you're talking to a lot and not very many are qualifying, then maybe you can just switch one thing in your marketing to target a more specific client that you know will qualify, or you could stick an online form on your website to ask them a question that would qualify them without you having to speak to everyone manually. And last thing I should add is the software is actually one of the cheapest of the case management software, so it definitely does apply to solo lawyers, even if it has really nice things like an opportunity pipeline. And the software is only $35 per user, which is definitely below market for case management systems in Canada. And one more thing, one reason to use it as a solo lawyer working by yourself is it's really easy to retarget clients that have let's say called you once. So let's say they called you, they're interested in incorporation, but now you have their email and you have their lead. You can now retarget them 6 months later about creating a will. Like, hey, we have a really nice, we have a great deal on a will. Does anyone need a will? So this is a whole database of leads. I've already told you how I like the color-coded overview of stuff, but this is the overview for a user. So a user being a lawyer, you can easily see how many hours you've worked this month and how many invoices you've sent but haven't been paid yet, and tasks. Honestly, I feel like the tasks section of case management gets cluttered when you add a bunch of tasks, but if you are really organized, then you can keep track of your tasks there.